Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Mike B here, and today I'm going to be talking about reenacting. Something I haven't really talked about in a while because I haven't actually done it in a couple of years now, or about a year and a half, almost 2 years, yeah. But so the other day I was on this Facebook group perusing through called Hire Reenactors for Films, and there was a meme that they put up about it had little toy soldiers, and it says reenactor action figures, and they're all like just these like rotund balls of green plastic, and they can't lay down. It's funny. And then the person who posted it said this needs to stop, or we got to do something about this. And then there was a slew of comments, etc., etc. And so I decided to comment on my 2 cents because this is something that's kind of bothered me for a while. And before we get started, newsflash: I know I'm fat. I know I'm overweight. Ooh, yeah. You don't have to tell me. If I had a penny for every time somebody's told me that in my life, I could buy a fucking ton of Krispy Kremes. I'll tell you that much. Anyway, so we're just going to be talking about, the kind of bring us your fat and old reenactors and why a lot of people probably don't want to hire reenactors for movies or films or stuff like that. So we'll start out with there is a place and always will be a place for overweight soldiers. I've been one myself. In the real military, I was always overweight for my height and everything because they have one exact body type that you're supposed to be in the military for your height and weight with your tape and all that stuff. And I was always over. I made tape once, but I could still pass my PT test with no problem. I still did my job great. I could still run, carry a bunch of heavy stuff, shoot great. And that held true with a couple of my friends who were also overweight and were really good at their jobs, and it was a really effective thing. Now, that's always been true. On all sides, every country, throughout time, there's been overweight soldiers, and they perform their duties just as well as anybody else. That is a fact. That's not my opinion. You can look that up. Currently today, there's people serving that are overweight and fat. And I'm not just talking like a couple extra pounds. I'm talking like pudgy, like noticeably overweight. They have a gut. They got hips or something like that. Their face isn't totally skinny. It happens. It exists. So it is historically accurate and can be historically accurately portrayed. But what you run into is people who, I don't know, a lot of them, it just seems that they've never been in the military, and that's not a prerequisite for reenacting. You don't have to have been in the military. That's what's cool about the hobby. However, there's some things that go along with that. If you're going to be portraying people who have been in the military, you should probably do it correctly and to the best of your ability, research-wise, and just the way you carry yourself-wise. It just seems that there's a lot of people, and there are some people like myself who were in the military and we got out and got fat and whatever. But I'll get into why some people can get away with it, I think, and others it's just like whatever. So the first couple examples I'm going to be using, I'm just going to put pictures up wherever in the video. I guess when I go to edit it, maybe right here, there'll be some blank space on the wall. Here's an example. I'm going to black out the faces. Just, they're still human beings. I'm not going to have them be ridiculed completely because these could be anybody really. But here's the first one that's doing a Vietnam 101st Airborne Infantry impression, air assault. I'm sorry, man, but there's not going to be a guy that big in the 101st or in Vietnam, as an infantryman jumping on helicopters and going into the bush and fighting Charlie. It's just not going to happen. And it doesn't matter if you're overweight a little bit, but this example, when your gut is visibly hanging and protruding over your belt, that's an issue with me personally. I think that just does a great disservice to the people who actually have served, and that the fact that you're portraying them means that you should be doing that out of a respect thing underlying, and two, to teach people about what they looked like. And it's really hard to teach somebody what a grunt or soldier looked like in any war if you weigh 450 to 550 pounds and your stuff barely fits. The issued belt is maxed out completely and it still has to rest below your actual waist where it's supposed to sit. And that's not just this guy. It's check out this picture too. This guy's supposed to be trained at Fallschirmjäger, right? The World War II German paratrooper, the Green Devils, the elite infantry, airborne infantry. I'm sorry, dude. This guy, I blacked out his face too, but he's an older guy, of course, which kind of will bring me into that subject in a second. But I'm sorry, dude, it's just not historically accurate in the least. And I understand the hobby's to have fun, and I get that. But to an extent, if you're going to be playing dress up, like I admit it totally is, it's playing dress up, at least pay a little homage to the people you are portraying, and don't disrespect them by just looking like crap. Now, this being said, I have seen people who are reenactors who are very large, very rotund, but they wear their uniform correctly. One of my good friends does World War I German, and we've talked about this. And he's an older guy, but he doesn't look that old, which is kind of cool. And, you know, we both kind of have weight issues. We've been struggling with that since we both got out of the military. But he was saying that he tries to... Oh, yeah. So that happened. I had a little bit of gun dominoes going on from me just idiotically setting guns up against a wall and expecting them to stay. Anyway, rectified that issue. So I was talking with my buddy, and we're both, not really fine specimens of physical fitness, which is pretty common in the hobby, which I can't fault anybody for because our current lifestyle allows us to do that. And if you're not in the military, you're not working out all the time, which is most people. It's you're not going to be perfectly physically fit, and I totally get that, and that's totally fine in the hobby. Our point was we try to make up for the weight thing with having accurate equipment and uniforms and gear and all that stuff, doing the research that kind of goes hand in hand, and wearing it correctly. So as you saw in the picture of the first guy, the second guy was just kind of huge, like big, consistent. But the first guy, you're talking where you have a gut hanging over your belt. Like, it's protruding out and over. Like, the fupa is not just there, it's like... And that's not a good thing. Like, if your belt is maxed out, which mine is, it's an original, but it's maxed out, and you have to wear it underneath your stomach, below your waistline, just so you can get it on and, like, have the rest of your gear on, maybe... it's not really a good look, man. And that goes along with wearing the uniform correctly is you look sloppy. And people who are in the military from all sides don't generally look sloppy when they're wearing uniforms. It's a pride thing. You're representing your nation at that point. All politics and all that shit aside. At that point, you're representing your organization, the Army, the Marine Corps, the Bundeswehr, guess reenactors do that. The Imperial German Army, the Heer, the Kriegsmarine, anything. You're representing your organization that you're proud of, and you also have discipline. So even if you don't really care about the pride, you still have discipline that says, or people are saying, hey, you need to wear that correctly. Clip your collar, clip your collar hooks. Button up all your buttons. Don't be slacking, laying around. Even when you're out in the field, it's like, no, you have to wear your things for a certain reason. You have to wear your things for a certain way for a certain reason. Okay, I can talk. Getting ahead of myself here. Anyway, I just see a lot of the overweight guys are not caring. It's like, one, you've got the overweight thing not going for you, which I have too. Two, you're not giving a shit about wearing your uniform correctly. And if you're so big and so overweight that your gut is protruding over your gear and like your buttons are about to burst, I still got a little bit of room in this, right? But that's not a good look. Figure something else out if you're going to have to do that. Like, I don't know. Are there any impressions where there's people that big? I don't know. But it just gets to a point where there should be like a line where you go, hey, I don't look so hot wearing this stuff. I probably want to lose some weight. And, I get it. I could stand to lose a few 50, 60 pounds, to make it look better and have that going for me. But in the meantime, I was talking with my friend, in the meantime, we're just going to strive to make our uniforms as accurate as possible and wear them correctly. Your belt is up at your waist. Your waist is your belly button, your navel. It's not below your fupa or your gunt. It's at your waist, okay? Sure, you see some pictures of guys that are out in the field and have been out there, they're wearing it a little bit lower. That's because it falls down. Try to hike it back up, and they're not wearing it below their guts, like just because they have to. So just think like that. You wear it like that. You don't have a uniform that's 10 times too small for you and that you're, popping buttons every time you're bending over or whatever. You can run more than 10 feet without, breaking a sweat and getting winded. You know, I mean, the farthest that some of these guys can run is 10 feet to shotgun a funnel cake and then head back to their area where they're sitting all day. And it's just like, man, that really gives the hobby a bad look from people on the outside, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. And so the part that I'll get to now is the age factor. Now, this one's a little bit more difficult, and this actually was on that same Facebook post, was mentioned by a guy who's older and has been reenacting forever. And he sees this too. He's like, everybody wants to portray infantry. I like portraying infantry for two reasons. One, I was actually infantry, so it's a fun thing and it's kind of a personal connection. And two, I'm young enough to be able to pull it off. Still, when I get older and I don't look the part anymore, I'm probably going to find a different thing to do my impression on. There's plenty of roles to do that on. You can be older. Shit, you can be up to about 60 and still be like believable to have been in the military. You just got to change your job and your rank. But anyway, you see a lot of these like 50 to 80-year-old guys. Like these people are like geriatric or borderline geriatric, portraying what mostly is done by 18 to 30-year-old guys and has been in the 20th century and still currently. But the majority of infantrymen are 18 to 30 years old. And there's a reason for that, but I guess I'll do that in another video. And it just takes away, I think, from the historical accuracy, because then it's like, you get a bunch of these older guys, and I know things start slowing down when you're like, 40 people. All my friends have told me that, 40 is the magic number, and it just keeps getting worse from there. It's like, well, we can still run. I get it, I'm overweight, but I can still run. I can still get to somewhere. I can make it look like I'm hustling and stuff like that. A bunch of my friends that are in a lot better shape than me and a lot thinner, they can run too. You make it look believable, right? That's the whole point of reenacting. Make it look like as close to as possible to what would have actually been happening, to teach people through visual history, because they're right there and experiencing it. The sounds, the smells, the chaos, the feeling of the concussion of the blanks, or the explosions, whatever. It's a very interesting way to teach history. Now, when you've got these people that are like borderline geriatric, moving at half the speed of smell and like sitting in one spot and just bang, just to pop caps, blast blanks. I get that, it doesn't have a limit on the hobby. I understand that. There's no age limit. But maybe figure out something else to do. And a lot of older guys do. They do like support things where they'll play like a higher rank person or like an admin personnel, which is really cool. And their impressions are fantastic. They're spot on. Again, if you got one thing working against you in the hobby, try to make your impression itself and your historical knowledge 10 times better to make up for it. I guess it's like if you lose a sense, your other ones kind of kick in and become more strong. So that's kind of how I view that as far as being overweight and older in the reenacting hobby. You guys can disagree with me all you want. That's fine. This is what I think and have thought for many years. If you got one thing going for you, and guess what? If you're overweight, you should strive to lose weight. If not for yourself, for the hobby itself. Become more historically accurate. Because while there always have been overweight soldiers, they're not that common. You see maybe one or two guys per unit, so that's about maybe 2%, 1 or 2% are overweight. And most of them aren't grossly overweight. They're just kind of, a little pudgy. But yes, you should strive for that, if for nothing else. I know I should definitely be doing that too, and I've been working on it. It's easier said than done, though. A lot of diet changes and stuff like that in life. So there's plenty of stuff on the internet. You can figure it out, whatever works for you. So yeah. But in the meantime, before that, just make your impression better. Do your research. Wear your uniform correctly. Don't have your stuff sagging. Don't just have, a bunch of buttons open. You're wearing a uniform. You're not wearing clothes. You're not like wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt just to go out and go get another bag of Cheetos and some Mountain Dew and, go play Dungeons and Dragons, which D&D is awesome, but I'm not ragging on it. But you know what I mean? You're wearing a uniform, right? People wore that uniform and people died in that uniform. So the least you can do is just wear it correctly, right? And know what you're talking about when you talk to the audience. So that concludes the rant video. I know this is going to be an interesting one. I hope you enjoyed the actually very unplanned gun domino game. Luckily nothing got damaged. It's just a lot of noise and whatever. But I got to figure out some other way to store these out here. But anyway, so thanks for watching, everybody. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe if you like this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Try to keep it civil. Everybody's got their opinion. This is mine. And a lot of people do agree with me. Even other fellow fat reenactors agree with me on this. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. That's a great way to support the channel if you like the content. If you don't, whatever, you're going to do what you're going to do anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, Patreon helps. You get props and stuff and ammo for shooting, and you get exclusive content once in a while, and you get to vote on what I spend your money on for donations. Pretty cool thing. Link is in the description. Check that out. If not, I get that. That's totally fine, but it'd really be cool. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I guess let's see what goes on in the comment section. See you on the next video.